Here we go. Are you ready? Because I'm ready here on this Friday afternoon, ready to give you more content on the NFL. Today, I want to get to Dalvin Cook's holdout, and then I want to give you the Get Your Fix over-under. So, are you ready to get your fix? So on Monday, Dalvin Cook came out and said that he's going to no longer participate in any team-related activities until and unless he receives what he determines to be a reasonable deal. Now, Cook's current contract is 4 years worth $6.3 million. Getting that little money, Dalvin Cook was able to put up about 1,600 yards rushing and receiving last year with 13 touchdowns. Now, he's had his fair share of injuries, but last year he averaged about 4.5 yards per carry. But here's the thing. Alexander Madison, his backup, averaged 4.6 yards per carry and stayed healthy all season. Really didn't have any injuries that were really damaging or effective to him, like that kept him out of the game or even a couple minutes out of the game. He was always able to come in and do what he needs to do and back up Dalvin Cook. Now, Dalvin Cook is a huge part of this Vikings offense. He's probably the main part of it besides Kirk Cousins, being that he's the quarterback in a sense. So, I mean, but if you have somebody who can potentially put up similar numbers, who is cheaper than you, I mean, do you really need to then give Cook this massive contract? I mean, it's just like that Chargers situation when Melvin Gordon sat out because he wasn't getting paid. He said, you know what? You're not going to give me the money I actually think I'm worth and I want, so I'm not going to play. And you guys are going to, feel that. You guys aren't going to be as good. And all of a sudden this Austin Eckler guy came out, and Melvin Gordon got sick of sitting and watching a cheaper, younger running back light it up on the field and pretty much take his job. He actually stole his job because Melvin Gordon decided, I'm not getting my money, I'm sitting out. And you know what? He decided to come back because he's like, I don't want to lose my job completely. I got to show that I'm still a good running back. Now, I do think Dalvin needs a little better contract. He does. Okay, he's shown that he's worth way more than $6.3 million, whether that's $10 million. I don't think he's worth that $13 to $15 million range like he's asking. $10 million is reasonable. $8 million might be too low, but $10 million, that's a good ballpark, I feel like. I don't think he deserves Ezekiel Elliott money. Like I said, I don't think he deserves to be up in that 13, 15 range. And the only way he's going to be in that range is if he consistently stays healthy and he can continually and consistently be a bigger and better force in this Minnesota Vikings offense. I mean, if you remember when I mentioned that Jadeveon Clowney had a chance of re-injury of 55.5%, well, Dalvin Cook has a chance of 56.4% chance of re-injury this upcoming season. And he has the potential to miss an average of 1.8 games this year. Okay, over his career, his first year he was in the Lions. It was week 4, I believe. He tore his ACL, which there's nothing you can do about that. An ACL is an ACL tear. Good luck coming back from that. And then I believe last year, 2 years ago, he had some knee problems. And then last year he had some knee and hamstring problems as well. And, I really hope that this 56.4% chance for injury and the 1.8 games missed, I really hope that's not the case. But if it is, then I ask again, does Dalvin Cook deserve to get a massive contract? Does he? I mean, does he really? If he can't stay healthy and you have somebody who's going to produce the exact same, but, I mean, I really can't see he's going to produce the exact same because we really haven't seen much of him, but he has that potential, 4.6 yards per carry. I think to Dalvin's 4.2, like I said. So I mean, or 4.5. I mean, this is something that we gotta look into. Is he worth paying that money? Is he worth wasting that money when a lot of running backs are diamond in the roughs? I'm not really sure. I mean, he's gonna be a free agent. Dalvin Cook is a free agent after this upcoming season. At least I'm pretty sure. I don't think they had a 5th-year player option, and he's not gonna be a Minnesota Viking if he doesn't get paid what he thinks he said is reasonable. Now, today I just seen that he's going to sit out the whole year until he gets paid, just like Melvin Gordon did. He's going to be a big baby because he's not getting his big money. He doesn't want to go play football. He wants his money. He thinks, oh, well, my chance of getting injured is that high. I need to get paid. No. If your chance of re-injury is that high, you deserve not to be in the NFL if you're going to be a big baby about it and sit out. Play football. We need you. Dalvin Cook is a huge part of this Minnesota Vikings offense. I don't understand why he's doing this now. Stephon Diggs tried to pull this. he got traded. We could very likely see Dalvin Cook on a different team next year, possibly this upcoming season. If we don't give him his money, we'll just trade him away. We'll just give him away. I don't think that's the case. I really don't think that's our forte to say, but anything could happen, especially when he sits out. He's doing a Le'Veon Bell. He's doing a Melvin Gordon. He's doing this stuff that you don't like players. You don't like watching players do. Go out, play football. Who cares about the money? It shouldn't matter about the money. In the old days, it never did. They got paid a couple of $1,000s. So why does it matter so much now? Why does it matter so much now? Did you buy too many expensive things that you have to pay for? What is the case? Why do you need this much money? I agree, you do need a bigger contract. I agree 100%. Dalvin Cook deserves a bigger contract. $10 million is my max. 13 to 15, give me another year. Wait till after this year, and I'll pay you. Give me one more year of your $6.3 million contract. And if you produce and you stay healthy, okay, $13 to $15 million, let's sign it. Let's get it done. So we'll see what happens there and see if he thinks whatever the Minnesota Vikings are offering, like I said, is reasonable. So now it's time for the Get Your Fix over under. Now let's start with Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill, do I have him overrated or underrated? Well, I believe Tannehill is overrated. It's as if people forgot what he did in Miami, where the playoffs were non-existent, really. I mean, last year, in my eyes, the only reason the Tennessee Titans actually made the playoffs was because of Derrick Henry, who ran for 1,540 yards with 16 touchdowns. I mean, don't get me wrong. Tannehill didn't have a bad year. He really didn't. He threw for 2,742 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 6 picks. But I think he easily could have had 3,000-plus passing yards. But with that type of production that Henry had, I mean, it's really hard to say that Ryan Tannehill was the reason for the Titans' success. I mean, Tannehill got a $118 million deal with $62 million of it guaranteed. Absolutely ridiculous. Especially when you think of the Titans. Who is the first person that pops up in your head? For me, it's Derrick Henry. It's the first person that pops up in my head when I think Tennessee Titans. Oh, they got that beast of a running back who's 6'6" or whatever and 240 pounds. He's a huge guy. He's going to run you over. That's who I think of. I don't think of Ryan Tannehill. I just don't. I mean, for me, it's like you got to think about this. I mean, he had to sign a franchise tag. Derrick Henry had to sign a franchise tag that was only worth $10.2 million because they didn't want to pay him. Okay, they didn't want to pay him that big money because they weren't really sure of his production. But yet they'll go and pay somebody who played 1 year for them. And he wasn't even the main reason you went to the playoffs. Yeah, he was a part in it. Don't get me wrong. He was a good part of it. But he wasn't the main reason. So why wouldn't you pay the main reason that got you there in the first place instead of signing this guy? To me, Tannehill's very overrated. Very overrated. This year, I feel like he's going to have a big dip. They're still going to be okay. The team's going to be okay. I think I have him second in the division behind the Houston Texans, I believe, at 9-7 or even first. I can't remember what I have him. But yeah, he's overrated. Switching to Amari Cooper, overrated or underrated? Well, I got Amari Cooper overrated. I mean, Amari Cooper this offseason was signed a 5-year deal that was worth $100 million with $60 million of that guaranteed. I mean, same scenario. You're really going to pay a guy top dollar that's only been with the Cowboys for 2 seasons, 2 years, and you're not going to pay your quarterback? Dak Prescott, to me, deserves to be paid way before some receiver who's never healthy. He drops a lot of passes, and he hasn't been there that long. Are you kidding me? Wide receivers today aren't that valuable. They're just like the running back. They're a diamond in the rough. If you get one, they can all of a sudden blow up. Who knows? You never know. That's why I think it's kind of ridiculous to take a wide receiver early in the draft or a running back early in the draft. You can wait late in that first round, early second round, and find a sleeper. Go in the 4th round, like Dak Prescott. He was selected in the 4th round as a quarterback. That's why he's asking for this big contract. I mean, in 2 seasons with the Cowboys, Amari Cooper, his first year he had 725 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. And then last year he had 1,189 receiving yards with 8 touchdowns. Not bad stats by any means. I mean, but you have to realize he averages 9.5 drops a year. Drop passes a year, 9.5. I think he's led the NFL the last 3 seasons. His rookie year, he was the worst one. I think he had 14 drops. I think last year he had 9 or 11, somewhere around there, 9 to 11. I mean, he's one of the worst receivers when it comes to actually getting the ball in his hands, which means that when he actually does catch the ball, it's because he's wide open, and it's usually a deep ball. I mean, his first year with Dallas, he averaged 13.7 yards per reception. But then last season he averaged 15.1 yards per reception. So you can see why I say deep balls are where Amari Cooper's production comes from. I do not think he's worth the contract that he was given. I feel like as if Amari Cooper is going to start decreasing in production and have even more drops now that he has so much guaranteed money and really doesn't have anything to worry about. Okay, he doesn't have anything. He has his money now. He has his guaranteed money. He's still going to walk away with $60-some million. Guaranteed, 40 of that $1 million he can earn playing the game. So what does he have to worry about? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He doesn't have to catch the ball if he doesn't want to, because if he sits, if he gets benched or gets cut, $60 million still coming his way. He doesn't have to worry. So, like I said, overrated. Now moving to the Houston Texans. Overrated or underrated? Well, I got the Texans as underrated. I feel like a lot of people are kind of writing the Texans off with the recent departure of DeAndre Hopkins. However, though, you can't count out the Texans just yet. You really can't. They still have Deshaun Watson with now a pretty reliable running back in David Johnson, who was traded for DeAndre Hopkins to come here to the Houston Texans. And also his wide receiver core might be a little worse with that departure, but he still has guys who he can spread the ball to. I mean, where really any one of those guys can become a star. I mean, they got Will Fuller, Randall Cobb, Brandon Cooks. I mean, these guys have played their fair share of games, and they've shown to be productive. They've shown to get it done. They're not number ones by any means. Will Fuller possibly is their best chance at being a number one receiver, but these are like so average receivers that I feel like they're going to be able to gel together a lot better than when you have a star and you have a couple subpar people, where now you have a couple good people where they can really do anything. So, I mean, they still have that that devastating force on the defensive line, J.J. Watt. So I really don't know why people are kind of counting the Texans out. I really don't. I mean, the last 2 years they finished first in their division, and that's even with the Tennessee Titans making a ridiculous jump last season, coming out of nowhere, just like the Jaguars did a couple years ago when they made the AFC Championship game. Now, they're not going to be as productive as they were with DeAndre Hopkins, but I do think it's going to be harder for that defense, or for defenses, to pick out, well, who's their number one receiver? Who do we have to double cover right here? Will Fuller, Randall Cobb, Brandon Cooks? Which one? Because they're not. Any one of them's not a star. They're not a number one receiver. So that's where it's going to get a little risky. These guys are going to be able to put points on the board. I feel like not at a high pace, at a consistent pace. They're going to have a decent record, a solid record. I got them going first in their division, I'm pretty sure. So we'll see where that goes from there. Lastly, I got Le'Veon Bell. Overrated or underrated? Well, I got Le'Veon Bell overrated. In 2016 and 2017 season, Bell rushed for 1,268 yards and then 1,291 yards with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he was making a name for himself as one of the top 5 running backs in the NFL, one of the best ones we've seen in a while. I mean, and then he decides, you know what? I'm worth some money. I'm worth some big running back money. You pay me top dollar, or I'm gonna sit out. And guess what? He decided to sit out the entire season of 2018, just like how I was talking with Dalvin Cook. You're gonna miss a whole year, and then you're gonna come out and you're gonna look like poop. You're not gonna be a really good running back anymore. You're not gonna be that top tier guy. You've missed a whole year. Yeah, you got to train, but you haven't played games. Gameplay is where it's all at. Gameplay. I mean, he sat out because he was pouting. He wanted to get paid, and instead he got franchise tagged. He didn't like that. He didn't want that. So being that he sat out a whole year, he ended up going to the New York Jets, where he rushed for 789 yards with only 3 touchdowns. He only averaged 3.2 yards per carry. That's not even a first down in 3 plays. You have to punt the ball every time if you ran it. I'm telling you, you would have to. I don't care that he had a bad line. Because if he was truly one of the best running backs in the NFL today, then he should be able to make something out of nothing. Now, I get that you can't do it every time, but he should be able to break one every now and then, and I don't see that from him. I see 4 or 5 yards if he's trying to make something. He doesn't get loose. He's more of a brute. He's more of that power guy. He's going to run up the hole and he's going to smack you. That's what's going to happen. He's not the guy like AP and he's loose kind of thing, It's not going to be one of those things. I feel like he's literally just out there to get a check. Okay, and then who cares about football because he's got his money, just like Amari Cooper. He's got his money. So, I don't have to perform that great because I'm still getting guaranteed money. I'm still getting paid. All I wanted was my contract. Now I'm here to play. I mean, I don't understand why players have to do this because going to the NFL was your dream your entire life. And all you wanted to do was play football. You didn't know anything about the money when you were a kid. You didn't care about the money. Yeah, you're like, I want to make the big bucks. But the main focus on your mind was, I want to go play football. It's because this is what I love. I don't see that from a couple players this year. Or, not this year. In this era. A lot of people are just like, pay me my money. All right, I'll do what I got to do, I guess. Yeah, they'll play for those first couple years to get that big money, to make those big bucks. But after that, what do? I mean, what do they do? Kirk Cousins got paid a big chunk of money from the Minnesota Vikings. Can't even win a primetime game. I don't like it. Players are asking way too much. They need to literally. I understand. It's a whole new era. They need the money. It's just how the game is. But come on, guys, play football. Go back to that love that you have. You probably still have it, even though you're getting this big money. But you're not showing it. You're not being mature about it. I mean, Le'Veon Bell. He's gonna put up very similar stats this season. Flat out, plain and simple. I mean, he's gonna slowly start to digress and produce less and less in the next couple of years. He's nowhere near what he's worth. Right now, he's making $52.5 million. And it really doesn't shock me if he, like I said, puts up similar stats, gets hurt, or asks for a trade this offseason because the Jets just aren't winning. And he wants to be part of a winning team because he doesn't have to do it all and win it for himself. So that's where I stand on Le'Veon Bell. I just think it's ridiculous that these players have to sit out and play for the money, not play for the love. So, like the XFL, their slogan, for the love of the game. And that's what it should be about. Well, that's going to end today's discussion. Thanks for stopping by. And you just got your fix with the Wicks.